Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Thomas Drives, and today we have a very special car, and this is the Aston Martin Vantage Volante N400, and this is a special edition to celebrate the victories in Nürburgring. So to start this review, we're going to start with, well, no pun intended, start the engine. Because as we think of Aston Martins, of course, there's luxury, there's beauty and stuff, but for me, one thing that makes Aston Martin amazing is the exhaust note or the engine, right? So I'm going to put us down and get a cold start going. So there you have it guys, this is the Aston Martin Vantage Volante. And I'll start off this vlog by saying that I actually really love this car. And if there is top 5 cars that I want to have in my garage, this is one of them. Not the DB9 but more the Vantage. And I'll explain to you a little bit why. I hopefully can communicate that to you in this walk around review, do exterior, interior and short driving review. Yep. So first of all, I just want to say the looks of the Aston Martin Vantage. I mean Aston Martins in general. I like the way it looks. It's beautiful, it's understated, and it's not flashy. Some people are probably thinking like, hey Thomas, it's Aston Martin, it has to be flashy, but I tell you what, it's not. If you park this next day to a Lamborghini or even a Ferrari, even next to the latest Audis, this car would really blend in, it doesn't really stick out. Now, of course, you park the car alone like this, you're going to see it, right? But hey, but this is in, I believe, lightning silver. This beautiful color over here, I have a fetish for silvers. So let's talk about some of the things that I like about Aston Martins, and let's talk about, as we go around, we're going to see what's special about this N400 version, okay? So, one thing I like about Aston Martins is the door handles, how you enter. So you press this and you do this. So they call this a handshake. So they believe a car is an entity, in like example, and you're going to give a car a handshake as you open the door, right? And first thing you notice, this thing, really solid metal, and when you let go, there's no like bang, there's no slapping sound. There's rubbers over here to stop it from making sounds. It's really well thought out. This is one of the hallmarks of Aston Martin. So you open the door. Now this is something that a lot of people don't pay attention to, and I do. You see the door, you can open it at any angle and let it be. Some doors there's this like tap tap tap, like they don't have that. Only after a certain angle it will start to close itself, but in a very gentle way. Beautiful. I love these things about Aston Martin. Okay, and of course, right now you get greeted with this, the N400, which is to celebrate the achievements in Nürburgring 24 hours. And then this is the 144 of the 240. So there's 240 convertibles, volantes they call it, and 240 coupes. Okay, so this is it, a proper roadster in the front engine, rear-wheel drive setup, sports car setup. Yeah, it's just, it's amazing. What else can I say? So let's go around, walk around in the exterior of the car. So I believe the Vantage, the N400 has this special little hose vents over here to make it look different than the normal Vantage. The front, pretty straightforward. This is the pre-facelift version, the 4.3 litre. I'll open up the hood for you in a little bit. Okay, now what we like about the doors is that when you open the doors, alright, check this out. The doors open upwards. Now, this is really good because it avoids your car being curved, okay, and also has a beautiful look to it. Look at that. Alright, imagine the 2 doors open up, right? It's beautiful. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop up the hood and show you the engine. Right. So for those of you who are watching my channel for the first time, welcome. And for those of you who've been watching my channel, I'm changing my style of review to this more walk around review versus a more vlog style, because I'm more of an enthusiast and a journalist. I can't operate this with one hand. Let's see if I can do it with two. Wait, I'm gonna put this down. So there is the engine under the bonnet, and first of all you can see this huge anti-roll bars. That's part of the upgrades from the N400. And 4.3 litre V8, but just notice this. See how deep the engine sits inside. That is part of the architecture of an Aston Martin Vantage. And you know what? This engine is actually quite remarkable. This engine, of course, first of all, is slightly upgraded. It's the N400, so it's 400 horsepower, 20 more than the usual 4.3. But this is the engine. They take it out and they put it into the 24 hours endurance car. This is the exact same engine block. And that's remarkable. Of course, they have a different chassis and stuff like that, but you know, isn't that remarkable? You know that this engine is an endurance engine. It's no different than the ones that you see on the Nürburgring. Okay, and of course, it's just the way they do it. It's symmetrical with these lines here and stuff. You know, they don't put these huge plastic covers. They expose the engine. I love it. I love it. And you know, with this Aston Martin badge over here, my God, it's just, I don't know. I love it. I love it. That's all I can say. And here you have, of course, the plaque with the hand built in England and inspected by Andrew Go. Good job, Sir Andrew Go. So there you go. That's the engine. Oop, there you go. Right. I believe the hood is carbon fiber for the lightness. The rims, so with the rims. I like it. Don't like it, but you have you know, look at this huge red calipers. It kind of matches. It helps the car look a little bit more sporty. Okay. But yeah, generally this is it. The exterior walk around. There's so many things to cover, but I'm going to just touch a few. Don't have much time with the car anyways. Now, let's talk about the practicality side on the boot. Now this car has quite a decent space in the boot as well. And I think this is important because the Vantage is not just a sports car, but it's something that you can travel with. It's I don't know how it drives because I haven't driven it yet. We're going to drive it later. But I feel that it's going to be a little bit more comfortable than sporty, and I think for that people would like to have practicality with it. Now the boot space, I must say, I mean compared to certain other sports cars, let's say a Cayman, you have the front and the back combined like a Spider, you have much more space. But is it big enough? That's the question. Like, if you compare it, you know, like who's bigger? Of course, other cars will be bigger. But is it big enough? I think it's big enough for, you know, for your grocery shopping. You can pack groceries for a family of 4 for a week. You can, you know, I think you can fit your golf clubs in here as well. And also you can fit at least a weekend's worth of change, or even a whole week's worth of change for 2 person. So it's actually decently practical. And check this out. You have even this. So rather than closing and you know, potentially putting your handprints all over the car, you have this little thing, you can close it. Right? Nice feeling when you close it as well. So yeah, that's pretty much about the exterior. And I just want to say I like these vents. I love these vents. You know, Aston Martin is a sports car manufacturer, a sports car heritage company, racing heritage company, and keeping all these little things without being too shouty. I love it. Alright, let's get into the interior. Okay, well, the interior is a nice space to be. I think I'll do more of it as I drive, but let's just jump in and take a look. First of all, instrument dials. Love it. They're all analog, and it's all aluminium, I feel. And of course I can't touch it because the glass is blocking it. But it's all aluminium. You can feel it looks like a timepiece to me. That's it's just beautiful to look at. Yeah, the details, guys, in the Aston is remarkable. The leather feels amazing. This is almost 12, 13 years old, but my God, the leather feels so good. Hand stitched. You know, this is a hand built car, guys. And for the second prices going right now at this year, this is a very good price for, it's a ridiculous price for a hand-built engineering piece. And what I like about this place is that if it's a metal, like here, okay, this is plastic here, but this one is actually metal. Look at that. You know, there's no plasticky bits that's wrapped around chrome. And also when you touch it, it feels solid. There's this sense of solidness, and build quality is undeniable in Astons. Even at this age, it doesn't feel like it's old. And of course for the N400 versions, they're the perforated leather seats, which is great. Very plush. Just look at this. It's very, very plush. Okay. Now the design, they have this called the, I think they call it the waterfall or the fountain design. I think it's called waterfall design, and it really makes the place look much more posh. Now it looks a bit more, I mean, like it's a bit older with all these knobs and stuff, but I think this is more timeless than the modern huge screens, touch screens and stuff. This one can, it will last the age of time, you know, the test of time, right? So yeah, and of course I love this. I love analog clocks. It's just a thing for me. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. What I'm gonna do right now before we go on a test drive. There's so much more to talk about, you know. Aluminium pedals, amazing. I'm gonna put you guys down so I can do a convertible, you know, to drop the top, and you guys can see how it looks like, the mechanism looks like. And of course, oh yeah, I want to talk about this. Oh, okay. This is the door handle. Check it out. So open it. It's hidden. Just love how everything feels. The texture, the tactile feel. Yeah. So I'm gonna put you guys down and do a drop the top. So, first and foremost, you start noticing the car jerks a little bit. It's absolutely normal. Okay. The Aston Martin Vantage is running on this sport shift. Actually, it's a manual gearbox with a computer. Now, most people don't like it because compared to, say, a torque converter, or say compared to a dual clutch gearbox, this will feel a bit like hesitant. But it's kind of like you're driving a manual car. Morning. So if you've driven manual cars and you like, it feels more like it. Okay? Is it a bad thing? Depends how you look at it. First of all, it's better for power because torque converter, you have more power loss from the engine to the wheels. Whereas manual gearboxes, you transfer more power. That's why Aston Martin chose to have this. Because in the DNA of the Aston Martin Vantage, it's still a sports car, it's a racing car, so you want more power onto the wheel. Now, can it be a bit jerky? Yes, but if you look at it, it's part of the character of the car, isn't it? And nowadays with all the PDKs and dual clutch, kind of boring. It doesn't have a character in this car over here. Beautiful weather. It just rained last night, so it's a glorious day to drive a convertible. Now, steering feeling, this is something I really like about this car. Steering feeling, fantastic. Very heavy, like hydraulic. Now, spirited drivers will love this. And I believe Aston Martin, although it's not the most agile, as I'll find out in a moment, it's still fun. Because it's not the kind of driver's car where you know, like, wow, you cut corners and you go the fastest. It's when you enjoy the engineering of the car, like this. Oh, beautiful. And now I start to learn about the gearbox is that it has that, you know, you declutch and clutch. So it is like a manual gearbox. That's symphony. No, some people say go for the DB9 because it's a V12. Because it's more, you know, symphonic. This, I don't know if you can hear it through the camera, but it's ridiculous. But you know, it's not the fastest car compared to like the turbocharged nowadays, hybrid. It doesn't give you that surge, but you don't want it to be fast. You want it to be, you know, you want it to climb. So I'm gear 1 right now. We're coming up to a highway. So we're back home here for a quick summary. Obviously, the car has been passed back to the dealership, which is Bespoke Motoring. Thank you so much for sponsoring this car over here. And if you're looking for a premium selection of imported cars, look no further than Bespoke Motoring. They curate an amazing range of cars like this one over here. And of course, the rest of the clips are not usable because there's too much wind noise and it's impossible to hear me in all that wind noise over there. So I'm going to give you a quick summary over here. Talk about what I like, what I don't like, and the verdict of this car. And if you're looking at a Roadster, should you get one like this, okay? So let's start with what I liked about this car over here. I'll start with the engine. Now, I think most people agree this is the party piece of the car, right? So what I really like about the engine and the exhaust note is that it's more than just an auditory experience. It's actually a sensory experience. Let me explain it. When you rev the car, you can actually, and because of the hydraulic steering, you can actually feel the revs as you're driving it. And the way the car delivers the noise, it's not something you hear, you actually feel it in your bones. It's this very bassy note. And the more you drive it, you feel that the Aston Martin engineers really took the time to craft this noise, this engine sound, and it feels more like an instrumental piece rather than just an engine noise. So with that regard, it's one of my favorite pieces of the car over here, which leads me to my second point, the way the engine delivers its power. So some people may or may not like this. For this car, it does not have that super urgency of a typical sports car, supercar. Rather, the way it delivers the power is quite the opposite. It's actually smooth and steady. It's this very steady climb of power. Now, don't get me wrong, the car is fast, but it's not like super urgent. May put some people off, but personally, I love it. I love it so much. And I find myself sort of half throttling all the time because the torque delivery is so buttery smooth. And paired with that exhaust note, you just want to slowly throttle it. It's like a good bottle of wine, right? You don't want to chug it down. You want to slowly drink it, enjoy it, take it in, feel it. And in this regard, the Aston Martin Vantage Volante has a very, very unique offering in this department, right? So these are the two things that I really love about the engine, and of course the interior. I mean, for a car that's more than 10 years old, I mean, it feels better than a lot of modern cars. So I love the interior, nothing to complain about it. It's a great experience in that department. And of course, with the drop top, just makes it so much more sexier. Now let's talk about the things that I didn't quite like about the car. But now that I'm talking about it, it's not really a bad thing, but it's something to really consider if you're looking for a car like this. Which is this, the first thing is the weight of the car. Now, the car is a little bit heavier, around 1600 to 1700 kilograms, and you can definitely feel it around the corners. Now, it's not that it's bad, but if you think of a Roadster, most people would think of something that's light, fun, dirty, urgent, This car doesn't have that characteristic, not like the Boxster, not like the Miata MX-5, or you don't have that sort of urgency, okay? But rather, it's far more composed. You have to drive it with a little bit more composure. Now, not that it's a bad handling car. In fact, I think the engineers have did a great job with the anti-roll bars and also the stiffened suspensions. It drives really composed. What I mean is that you can still take corners at pretty good speed and you won't feel the car is tossing you around. That's what I mean about it. It's very well designed, but you can't hide the weight. It's definitely there. So in that perspective, if you want something more dirty and fun, you probably have more fun on the Boxster or even the Miata. But if you enjoy carving up a nice steady line, if you enjoy cruising, with the top down, this car, and if you enjoy the exhaust note, this car is unique in that sense, right? Then the other thing that I didn't quite like, but I grew to like, which is another pink elephant in this room. Most people actually got afraid of this car is because of the single clutch automatic gearbox. Yes, it's in comparison to dual clutch or the DSG or even PDKs, this gearbox is inferior in its performance. There's no way to talk about it other than it's not as good as those things. There's no argument. And the way it works is because it's like a manual gearbox. People who used to driving a torque converter will find this extremely weird, So at first it was jerky, it was kind of weird, like when you put in a reverse gear, you have to throttle to move, and you kind of feel the clutch going in and going out. It's just kind of weird. But you sort of get used to it, especially if you've driven manual cars. And at first I was quite frustrated, but then I realized I was looking at it the wrong way. I was trying to compare this like a torque converter, like a DSG, like a PDK, and that's where I've gone completely wrong. In fact, when you're revving the car flat out, right? When the car shifts, it jerks. It goes like it's actually quite a put off for a lot of people. But again, if you think about it as, hey, this is just a manual gearbox that is being supported by a computer, then you'll see it differently. So when you're driving this car, you have to always be shifting the gears yourself. Then you're probably thinking, Thomas, I might as well get a manual box. Yeah, that's true, but there's also a different kind of fun to it, right? You have to sort of work with the car. And I would dare say it's actually more fun than actually driving with a PDK, because you go like, PDK is like, you know, this one you have to lift off the throttle when you're revving up. You lift off the throttle, and then you shift the gear, you wait for the gear to go in, and then you throttle down. That's how you actually drive the car. So in a way, you're getting sort of like the best of both worlds, really, you know. And I find myself, the more I drive, the more I actually like this sensation, that you get to work with the car. But that's what you want from a sports car, isn't it? You want to work for the experience. I mean, imagine this, if you're going to go play, say, tennis with a friend, and you have hey, let's go easy on each other, let's play casually. There's no fun in it, right? But if you got to work to play and get a good match, like you almost won, you almost lost, now that's fun, right? And that's what I see about a sports car. This car still gives you that sort of engagement, which I really, really like. So even there is no manual box, it's still really engaging because you got to anticipate the gears, you got to shift down, shift up. It's actually pretty fun. Now, if that's not your thing, then maybe this is not the car for you. But if you like something that's unique, you know, and you're not bothered about having the fastest lap time, it's actually very, very engaging. So if you're looking for a comfortable sports car that you can cruise around, take a nice road trip, but still have some fun with corners, and have an amazing exhaust note musical instrument, look no further to the Aston Martin Vantage. But this one over here is a Volante, which means it's a convertible, and that just adds an additional experience if you're looking for a Roadster. Again, if you're not looking for the most dartiest, the most fastest car around the corner, you know, this will be the car for you. But if you want those, you're better off with a Boxster, a Cayman, or maybe a Miata, or maybe a Z4 or something like that. But this car over here, I mean, it's just an amazing auditory and also central experience. And it's a car that would probably want you to keep driving it and driving it and driving it again. Yep. So yeah, that's my verdict of this car. Now, if you enjoyed this video, please help me hit the like button. And if you want more videos like this from me in the future, please hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to turn on the bell notification so you'll be updated when new videos come out from my channel. Right? Thank you so much for watching this episode of Thomas Drives. So I'll see you in another episode. Until then, keep it 100% and stay safe. Peace out.